Since I arrived in California back in about February of 2024, I've had a number of trips that aren't really traditional overlanding trips that I summarize here.
There's that photo like around the golf course, midday, Houston Heat, that got your attention. Thank you.
I was extremely fortunate that shortly after joining our research and development organization in Fontana, California, I was allowed to go to a strategic summit of the entire global research and development team in Sydney, Australia. So we had a number of opportunities to see beautiful Sydney Harbor, or the Quay as it would be known in the King's English, I suppose. Not enough room in any video to summarize so many beautiful and interesting things to see in Sydney, Australia. If you've been following the channel, you know that I've already posted some videos from a few of our more traditional overlanding trips around here in the Inland Empire in Southern California. This video goes back before Kathy joined me here after our trip to Montana back in June. And on a few occasions I went out and tried to do some reconnaissance of the area, anticipating where I would take Kathy once she arrived. On this particular day in May, I went out to Joshua Tree National Park. It was still late spring, so it wasn't yet scorching hot. And I'm still looking forward to taking Kathy out there once it cools off again. All right, today I'm in Fairmount Park in Riverside, California. Just about 20 minutes from where we're living in Ontario. It's like the third time Kathy has joined a bluegrass jam here in the park. And I think I've put it on my cell phone before, but I thought I should get some GoPro video today. Mostly I have the GoPro with me because later today we are going to go to the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, California. And I thought, I'll take this with me and get some video of that. So this is July 19th or July 20th, I think. So I've been here for 5 months, and in terms of great overlanding content, it's really all been from our trip in Eastern Europe. It's July. So routinely this time of year here in the Inland Empire, its highs are over 100, mid-90s to over 100. Lows might crack below 70, which, because it's, again, kind of dry heat, is not unbearable. But it's not something you want to go camping in. So this summer, I've got a list of things that we want to do, and then in the winter. So we'll see how that plays out. I would say in the winter time, the desert, how's it going? The desert places are definitely that's the time to do it. So it'll be probably 2-3 months from now. So what I've written on the list is like the Sequoias, I think Kings Canyon, a few places in the mountains going up the Pacific coast. This is the time of year to do that. So again, there won't be a ton of overlanding at first. We'll probably take Sparky or the Hummer up and just do like a day trip, maybe spend a night in a hotel until we get our bearings. And then we'll probably do like an overlanding trip. But I'm going to walk over here to this really pretty rose garden. I don't think I've walked through it yet. It's the third time we've been here. I'll walk over to the reflection pond. Then I'll also walk over to where Kathy and the gentlemen who usually show up do these bluegrass jams. Really is a wonderful bit of culture. This just bunch of musicians that get together to play together, and it's part of the great culture and tradition of bluegrass. It just kind of has that same southwestern architecture that we've grown accustomed to seeing.
Well, the vista is amazing.
That is beautiful, isn't it? It's a nice piece of land. But it's
Hummingbirds, beautiful.
Kind of a mission style, I guess you could call it, with the terracotta roofs and all. That is an amazing vista, isn't it? So this is just the cafe outside, but most of the trips that Kathy and I will be wanting to make are more overlanding in nature, maybe loosely cultural in nature. But I'm a big fan of history, so we just did today, in addition to having previously bought a National Parks Pass, is a Presidential Library Pass. So what do you think so far?
It is impressive.
I agree, it is impressive.
I would come back here. They have Friday night concerts, like bands that are cover bands.
That's unusual. So cover bands, not like anything historical or amazing, just like pop concerts.
Yes, pop concerts, kind of like.
I was more interested in like the special programs, like they're doing the Strategic Defense Initiative, Star Wars right now. So Lots of cool stuff. So anyway, a little bit of overlanding travel that I was not anticipating.
You need to get a shot of my outfit.
Oh, oh, that's right, because I didn't understand why you said that earlier. So Ronald Reagan being a great Republican president, you're wearing your elephant pants.
Yes.
Now I get it. So I don't have enough battery to do a lot, but I can at least get kind of the, as you enter.
Cufflinks.
Star Wars first. You want to see the museum? When you see the whole museum, when you're done, then you got Star Wars. If you go to see Star Wars first, then you have to come to the museum. Okay, so just veer to the right.
Awesome. Love it. Hanging out with Nancy. She's a little taller than you are. You gotta love that sign. You go ahead. So a lot of people probably don't remember how demonized Ronald Reagan was. If you think Trump gets a bad press, Reagan got a savage press, and they absolutely ripped him for the Strategic Defense Initiative. A little bit of interesting history about the name Star Wars. Definitely not something they wanted. It's more used in terms of ridicule. Misleading Red Scare tactics and reckless Star Wars schemes. So thank goodness, one of the many times in history, thank goodness, people didn't listen to the naysayers. The world's a much safer place because we did research to intercept missiles. I miss Bloom County a lot. Interesting ground-based testbed system. Fortunately, for the good of the country, the research continued despite the controversy, but it was amazing the types of arguments that were made for why SDI couldn't work.
My good friend, Governor Reagan, to say a few words at this time.
Quite a few memories. I walked through the malaise and crises of 1979, through the election to the inauguration. Pretty good exhibit.
So when he talked to the contractor, he said, we have an 18.5-foot ceiling at the Oval Office. The contractor said, Mr. President, this is Mission, Southwest Mission style, 13-foot ceiling. The President said, no, 18.5 feet, dig a hole. That's why we come down those steps and we're going to go up a ramp. He wanted it exact. This was decorated by he and Mrs. Reagan during the first year of his second term in office.
This is the Air Force One Pavilion, documenting some of his President Reagan's diplomatic trips, but the really dramatic part is Air Force One. So that's pretty cool. I think the backlighting is going to mess up this picture, but it is pretty amazingly impressive. About dead. Grabbing a little bit of footage of the outside grounds. Nice equestrian statue of President Reagan. We just left the Air Force One Pavilion, along with Marine Corps One. Very impressive. And the one lady showed us you can actually see the Pacific Ocean from the grounds where we ate lunch. She kind of pointed it out to me. It's like a little strip, but she said on a clear day you can really tell that it's the ocean. So again, beautiful piece of land, amazing history, and for me, very special history, because Ronald Reagan meant a lot to my generation. You shaking Ronnie's hand there? So the fact that we could spend the morning in Riverside listening to bluegrass or a Kathy playing, and then go someplace that interesting within the same day, is just indicative of how interesting this area of Southern California can be. The GoPro's fighting me a little bit here. Kathy and I came out after dinner last night and had a really nice walk around South Beach here in Carlsbad. So I thought We both thought, let's come back today with the cameras and just take a little walk on the beach. It's just beautiful. There's a bunch of people surfing. It's just a really nice and pleasant area. And so we have all day today in Carlsbad, just a quick vacation from our stay in Ontario. It's a kind of a weird deal. It's a vacation we had planned before we knew we were coming out to California. And it was something I never do. It's one of these, hey, if you sit through our presentation for a timeshare, we'll give you a discount on a hotel stay. So Kathy and I went ahead and, I did it on the phone literally while I was driving back from having corrected a travel reservation. And they did a really nice job for me fixing a reservation. I said, hey, would you like to stay on the line for a special offer? I never say yes to that, but I did. So I don't know, maybe 8 months ago, something like that, we set these few days. So it's kind of funny to take a vacation in Carlsbad when you live in Ontario. At that time, we didn't know we'd be living in Ontario. But this is it's been pleasant. Today's Tuesday. We go back tomorrow after we check out from the hotel. We're just staying like at a little suite room in a, I can't remember, it's a Hilton property. I think it's like it's like a low end, like a Hampton Inn kind of deal. But it's quite nice, and we're over by the Palomar Airport. So what you can't tell here is, yeah, we're right on the ocean. And this South Carlsbad beach here at this end, the northern end, I think it is, you're right above the cliff. So you can kind of climb down the cliff, or you can do what we'll do. We're going to walk down the trail there to where it goes down to ocean level and just kind of walk along the beach. So a few little spots where people walk down the beach. Seems to be a popular surfing spot. So what do you think? So should we go ahead and hike up to the area where it drops down? So little bits of surfing culture are still alive. Especially love seeing the older guys, but you see little converted vans and campers, and like last night, guys surfed until it was dark. When they went back to their cars, changed clothes, cooked dinner. I don't know if you would call that overlanding, but I don't know, man. To me, that's definitely overlanding. It's you know, kind of primitive camping by the beach and having an incredible time. I personally do not surf, but I think it is very cool. Kathy was noticing last night there was a boy out fishing. I have no idea what you can catch with a rod in the surf like that, but I'm guessing they know what they're doing. So we're up here critiquing the form of the surfers, why they choose certain waves over others. Well, to a Californian, they probably think I'm dumb, but those are prickly pears. I did not know what a prickly pear was. Now I can see. Yeah, we were wondering why he didn't take an earlier one. Well, he knew what he was doing. I only caught the tail end of that, but he rode that wave all the way in. You know, there's van life and there's van life. That is van life. I've never done the van life thing, but I imagine it's all about picking your parking space, and that's a pretty awesome one.
Oh, they got a fish.
Well, they did catch something. There you go. So in answer to the question, what can you catch? Some kind of, it's a kind of a flat panfish. Bearing in mind that's the ocean and not a Midwestern lake, I don't know if that's a, you know, there we'd have what, like a bass or a sunfish. I don't know what that is. Of course, he was cruising along, and by the time I saw it, it was too late. So there he goes. He's, yep, you can see now. He's kind of up in the air. I hope this is sufficiently in focus. And he goes for quite a while. And he kind of bounces up and down, keeping it moving there. I think that is just really cool. So it's like a paddle board, surfboard, whatever the heck. It's very cool. Noticing earlier, he stays up on the water quite a while. And it looks like he exerts quite a bit. It's got to be great exercise. That was pretty cool. Hopefully that's at least somewhat in focus. Kathy was refusing to be the subject of the video. It adds interest if one of us is walking in frame. I do have to remember to keep track of Kathy. Every now and then she falls way back. So we were riding bikes in the Illinois Valley some time ago. And I was kind of focused on where I was on the trail and suddenly thought, oh, I better check on Kathy. And, you know, she had spilled like a quarter mile back behind me. So I felt kind of bad. By the time I got back to her, I think someone else on the trail had already rendered aid and she was back up and on her bike. And she was none too impressed with my having inadvertently abandoned her. So what do you think? Surfboard for a gnome? Maybe a Keebler elf. I think the nails help you stay up. Oh yeah. Mounted the sandcastle, declared himself Lord of all he surveys. Oh, we're back where we entered the beach. We'll walk back up the cliff, back to where the car's parked and probably grab some lunch. Definitely feeling like a light lunch. Ate fish last night, but between the sauce on my vegetables, which tastes like it had a lot of butter in it, and even a light breakfast this morning. I ate a bagel with some what I think is like chicken sausage. If you eat healthy for any length of time, when you eat comfort food, it just feels like someone took a paintbrush and coated your tongue with grease. That's the way I feel here around lunch. So hopefully find some fruit or some salad today. Kind of back where we started. Oh, there's one of those little squirrel-a-beelies. Don't know what you call those, the kind of squirrel that is. Oh, there's two of them. Look at that. There, guys up close, hanging out with the pigeons here. So winged rats and unwinged rats. I don't think that's a marmot. Definitely has a cool pelt there. Oh, he's looking for a handout. Sorry. Quick visit back to the hotel room. Nothing particularly amazing. Charging the GoPro batteries. So I was saying, I don't think I've been in Camp Pendleton since 1986. I would have been here that summer. So I just pulled Sparky here, St. Onofre Beach, which is within, it's a state park within Camp Pendleton. Cost us $15 to have a day pass. They did say if we decide to stop at any other beaches on our ride up, the same day pass will work. We don't have to pay a second time. I don't know if we will or not. And I was loving it, right? Could be. Could be. Marine inversion. The guy at the entrance was trying to remember with us, what's the term for this? And he said, yeah, typically by now it's burned off. Same thing we were seeing in Carlsbad, where you have this kind of overcast mist and it's nice and cool. So what was the phrase again? It wasn't marine inversion, it was marine...
Yeah,
oh, it was
marine
layer. The marine layer.
Marine layer. And in Hawaii, they call it the vog.
That's right. The other lady said, yeah, in Hawaii they call this the vog, when you get this kind of misty fog, which to me is very comfortable.
Vague.
I love that. So if you're, I don't know what the deal is, but I think if you're active duty, you can get up into that little RV park that's reserved for the Marines. That's pretty cool. I was definitely not doing that when I was here 38 years ago, but I didn't have it so bad. my training in Pendleton was a lot of fun. Did a lot of cool stuff here. I always tell people when you serve, and my service was totally unremarkable. I trained for the better part of 4 years and served less than 1 active duty. But you do cool stuff. So it was at Pendleton, I was remembering when I fast roped out of a, can't remember, excuse me, it was a Huey or a Flying Banana CH-46, but it's kind of cool. You slide down the fast rope, hit the ground, get to do some cool stuff. And you don't think of it at the time, you're young and it's just your job, but that was a lot of fun, a lot of great adventures from back when I served and was out here in training. I had a lot of fun. Down at Coronado Island, Marines always argue about which is tougher, Paris Island or San Diego. My only point, and I was not enlisted, I went through ROTC, but the thing about MCRD San Diego is you're being thrashed by these drill instructors, at least back in the day, and there's literally a chain link fence. And on the other side, there's a bunch of beautiful women just relaxing on the beach. I just think from psychological torment, that's got to be awful. So gorgeous beach here. We just figured, checked out at a hotel, heading home to Ontario. We just figured we'd enjoy stopping at least once, maybe a couple times, driving up the 5 along the coast instead of taking 15 straight home. Kind of fun to see Kathy just enjoying herself walking along the beach. She commented, she saw, what fool's got Calvin Klein? She saw the imprint and some footprints, then she realized it was her own footprints. Remember doing that in the UP where I was trying to, my brother-in-law sort of got lost in the woods. We were deer hunting and I was trying to get back to where he was, and I looked down and said, oh, all right, these are the tracks, okay. And I followed him a few steps and I stopped, looked at the bottom of my own boot, and I realized I had gone in a circle and I had rediscovered my own track. So I look at that sandy cliff, was kind of laughing to myself that the last time I was on any of these beaches in Pendleton, I was in an Amtrak. But I still remember being a bit freaked out because the Marines would drive us right up to the edges of the cliffs along the coast in those Amtraks. And I always thought, man, did anyone explain the concept of subsidence to these guys? Because, landslides happen when they happen. And a huge, heavy, vibrating vehicle with tracks right up close to the coast is probably as good a way to induce a little bit of soil subsidence as there is. But we were fine. But I still remember, typical of me, of course, overthinking, yeah, it was awesome, I loved the experience. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder if we're going to be down in the water in this Amtrak accidentally fairly soon. When I should explain, an Amtrak, if you've never seen one, is the like amphibious tank landing vehicle. Don't know if they're still in the inventory of the Marine Corps or not. Decades ago, I first started to feel old when I realized every naval ship on which I had set foot, except maybe the USS Nimitz, has been decommissioned. So peaceful, so relaxing, and just such an invitation to reflect on the power and majesty of creation. I don't remember the phrase. I think it's Hebrew. I've got it in my notes on my iPhone. It's from a homily by Bishop Barron, but he talked about the word in Genesis in its original language to refer to the chaos, the chaotic waters, and how God brings order in the creation story of the 7 days. And there are 2 creation stories. The one about, on the first day God did etc. On the 7th day he rested. That's the strength of that story. There's a Babylonian creation myth that one god kills another god, and that's the earth. It's very violent and chaotic. And in the priestly tradition, their version of creation is God brought order from the chaos. And sometimes I think if you stand and you contemplate the vastness of that ocean, it is chaos. And we can bring order. So it's a very beautiful, beautiful place to be, just to reflect on that. I don't know if you mind if I do the camera. What kind of fish can you catch with a pole along the beach like that?
Well, right now I'm trying to catch some perch.
Okay.
But mostly what we catch out here are fat rays, guitar fish,
okay,
and little
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, we were just wondering. I saw a lady grab a decent size, looked like a panfish to me. I would have guessed it was a perch, but I'm used to lake perch, so I don't know what an ocean perch looks like. Cool. Good luck. Take it easy. Many of us who served, probably most of us, were never really in combat, certainly not in frontline combat. Closest I ever came was on the USS South Carolina, a nuclear cruiser, during the TWA hijacking. That's how old it was. Yeah, Trans World Airlines existed back then. And some terrorists beat a Navy SEAL to death that they found on the plane. We were within the so-called line of death. Gaddafi had his line of death. The Syrians had theirs. That was about as close as it came. I was doing midshipman training, even though I was Marine option in an ROTC, and we were off the shore of Syria. So yeah, it was a little exciting, like, hey, something might happen. But even nothing like what the Navy's experiencing now in the Red Sea, where people are actively lobbing missiles at you, and now you live in a world of drones and lots of other threats. So, but still lots of interesting memories from training here at Pendleton came rushing back.
How about this squirrel?
Saw him, videotaped him too. I'm not sure if that's a squirrel or a marmot. I'm curious now. Oh, wow. So it started recording. It wasn't recording, yeah, so I missed that conversation. But yeah, it was the Jody that I was remembering. He was born in Paris Island, the land that God forgot. And you go into this Marine. It's kind of a cool Jody. It was one of my favorites, and it sprang to mind. Oh, there we go. See, he's out here now. I told Kat, I don't know if that's a marmot or if that's just some species of squirrel, but notice his quote is marked quite differently. He's probably looking for a handout. He might come fairly close. There he goes. So a bunch of those guys, some fatter than others. I think the fat ones learn how to talk to people. I was very pleased that we made that quick stop at Camp Pendleton on our way back to Ontario. That was it for our non-overlanding trips for a while, until we went up to the Nixon Library. Quick visit to the Nixon Library. We've been to the Reagan Library. This time we're just driving the Hummer. Did the usual bluegrass jam in Riverside. Oh, should we start in the theater?
Yes, sir.
Works for me. It's a pretty good opening film. Focused mostly on his presidency toward the end of his life, but still pretty compelling. And it opened with the Watergate and the resignation speech, which I thought was pretty cool. Like they just start right off with Richard Nixon resigning the presidency.
And we heard the bombs dropping as they came out. They were dropping, and we died. the fact that our two youngsters would like to have a dog. And believe it or not, the day before we left on this campaign trip, we got a message from the Union Station in Baltimore saying they had a package for us. We went down to get it. The American people.
Very late at night, I think it was 2 a.m. in the morning, the silent majority thing came into my mind.
I was responding with telegrams on the tens of thousands that came to us.
I believe in the American dream, but I have seen it come true.
Ready to head out?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And then I want to go see the house.
Oh, I wanted to go out and enjoy the grounds as well, so I'll just go to the store and wait for you. So folks had told me one reason to come here on a nice day is the beautiful outdoor gardens. So we've already walked. I've got a little bit of museum head, but it's absolutely amazing. It's history that I was alive for much of it, and then what I wasn't, I studied. So it was quite interesting. Definitely worth a visit here. Lots to learn. But these are the beautiful, beautiful grounds, and Kathy and I are going to walk over and see his boyhood home here in a minute. This is what the folks at work had told me, that this is one to visit on a beautiful day where you can be outside a lot, because they said the gardens are so beautiful. I thought you probably read the same things I read. I thought it was interesting that they were not going to build his library here. Nixon was still alive when they did all this, and Yorba Linda kind of making a last-minute bid when I think it was San Clemente. They were fighting about the land, and some locals bought his, because he grew up in Whittier, but they bought this land and said, hey, we can build a library and we're going to preserve your boyhood home. I think I can't remember, it was like 4 or 5, 8, whatever he was when they moved to Whittier. And he jumped at it. He's like, yeah, great idea. He thought it was really cool. So I thought that was pretty clever. And they've been able to preserve this house. We have been extremely fortunate this summer to have had so many opportunities to see so many wonderful people and visit so many beautiful places. So with regard to the channel, every now and then I'll pull together a compilation like this where, for whatever reasons, whether it's work travel or just us taking advantage of an open weekend, we'll try to share some of the beautiful and interesting and historic places that we visit. Most of the channel, though, will go back to explorations of nature on overlanding trips, with hopefully some occasionally appropriate reflections, theological, religious reflections on the extraordinary beauty that we are allowed to see.